Welcome, Willis, interviewing Sirgoo Lee, co-CEO of Kakao Corporation, everybody. Thank you.
Hi, Willis. Hi, everyone. Quiet crowd today.
Yeah, because I haven't started talking.
Oh, there you go.
So, anyway, who are you? Why are you here?
Straight to the point. My name is Sirgoo. I'm one of the two CEOs of a company called Kakao. We have a smartphone instant messaging service called KakaoTalk.
Oh, okay. So, what is the meaning of a co-CEO? Why is there a co-CEO?
Oh, we have two CEOs. My other CEO, who is one of the founders of the company, JB Lee, he's in charge of strategy and sales. I take care of all the outside stuff, all the headaches, legal, government relations, marketing, PR, things of that nature. And we have about 12 to 13 people on our management team. Actually, it's not a vertical organization. It's very horizontal. And so we each have our areas of expertise. Myself being a lawyer by training, I take care of privacy, legal issues, and outside issues. And we have a CTO, CFO, and we do a group management kind of system.
So yesterday I just checked that Kakao has about 80 million users, right? So, and you did it in 3 years, 1,000 days. You have that very nice infographic. So 80 million users in 3 years. So how did it even started?
Actually, we founded the company about 6 years ago, and during the first 3 years, we did a lot of Web 2.0 web services and failed miserably. Just by chance, in November 2009, the smartphone device was first introduced into Korea, and it suddenly hit us that we wanted to do something, a mobile service. And just looking at the device, we thought a service that had to do with communication would be very popular. And so at first we launched 3 different services, two of which we really haven't focused on after KakaoTalk really took off. So we're focusing on the messaging service, but that's how it really got started. And we're up to about 84 million registered users with about 4.8 billion messages being sent every day.
Okay. So how much money did Kakao receive in total?
Oh, funding-wise?
Yeah.
Let's see. Last year in April, we received a total of 90 million, 70 million of which came from Tencent. A year before that, 20 million from various investors, VCs, and so in total, about 100 million and some change.
Okay, so I will come to Tencent later on. They're doing a very interesting app called WeChat. So
I've heard.
Yeah, what a coincidence though. So how did Kakao grow so quickly?
I think it's 50% dumb luck, and then the other 50% being listening to our users. We were very cautious about improving the product by ourselves, because during the first 3 years of failure, we learned that you really need to listen to the customers, to the users. And so when we started KakaoTalk, we developed it just in 2 months. We had 2 developers and 2 designers who worked on the product. So we wanted to launch the product as fast as possible. We didn't want to make the mistake of trying to come up with a perfect solution for everything. So in 2 months, we launched the service, and then we constantly received feedback from our users on what to improve and what to make different. And I think that really hit a chord with our users, and we have a really strong brand image and following with our users in Korea.
Okay. So along these 3 years, so are there any things that Kakao did wrong? And if you can
hopefully
go
back
not. I mean, are there any things that you hope that you could have done better?
Right. Line has crossed the 100 million marker before we did, and their user base is growing more rapidly than we are. So in hindsight, I wish that we could have focused on global expansion a bit more aggressively than we did back then. But, the whole point of having a management team is to make really tough decisions on what kind of issues you want to focus your limited resources on. And at the time then when we decided to really make a push for global, we had a lot of local issues that we wanted to focus on to make the service more stable. And so it was kind of a conscious decision on allocating our very limited resources. Compared to WeChat and NHN, we're a very small company. We're only about 350 employees large, and so you can only focus on so many issues.
So Tencent invested in Kakao. So it's kind of like a tricky issue because they I think they have one bot seat, right, at Kakao. So they know exactly what you guys are doing. When you push the game platform, they probably know it first as well. So it's a tricky relationship between Tencent and Kakao, and they are doing WeChat and you're doing KakaoTalk. So how internally how do you resolve all this conflict of interest?
Service-wise, there is a competition going on, but I think there's a lot of room for cooperation, and so we share ideas. We try to come up with ways to work and learn from each other. Service-wise, we are competitors, but I think we're learning from each other in the long run. That benefits both our companies, and especially our company having received $70 million in investment. So we're very happy.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys are more in a collaboration than competing. Am I right to say that?
We have started advertising in Indonesia and Vietnam just earlier this week, and so in terms of competition in the market, we are fiercely competing with them in those local markets. I don't think we would ever launch, actively market our product in China and vice versa for Tencent in Korea. I think there's room for cooperation there, but in other markets we are in competition.
Okay, so I think chat ad has been a trend, right, in the mobile space. I think one of the biggest things that has happened so far, that have happened so far, is chat ad. People didn't know that it could, be a network itself. Everyone used it as like SMS, but through data, right? And I think Kakao is the first to launch a game platform, and all of a sudden, companies like Gree, DNA, sorry my friends, Gree, DNA, they are scrambling, they are launching Calm, and it's launching like Gree Messenger, and all of a sudden, people realize that, hey, chat app could be a network, that you could build a lot of different layers on top of it. So Kakao is the first to build a gaming platform on top of a chat app. So how did that idea come about? And what kind of consideration do you have? Were you worried that it could be that users wouldn't like it? And what are the considerations before you actually launch the gaming platform?
If you take a step back, I think if you look at messaging applications as a service, it has the potential to grow into a service platform because a lot of people use it on a daily basis. Of our 84 million users, about 30 million use our application each and every day. So it is definitely a killer application. But we wanted to take it one step further and grow it into a mobile social platform. And one of the things that became a success is games. I think games was the first to kind of be very famous because games traditionally have a business model that really works on these internet portal sites. And our founder, Brian Kim, he was the founder of handgame.com, the world's first internet portal site. He wanted nothing to do with games. he had this stigma of being a game guy. And so when he started Kakao, he really wanted to do something else. And so when we first talked about whether we should have games in our portfolio, he was very adamantly against it. And actually, early last year, we were talking to several big game companies in Korea about us outsourcing the game platform to them. At the time, they really didn't have the same vision that we had, and so rather reluctantly, we started our game service with 9 unknown games, which became an overnight success. And so I'm happy to report that we have more than 100 games right now on our platform, and we're doing pretty well revenue-wise also.
Okay. Are you profitable?
Yes, happy to say.
Okay, let's cut the chase. How much money are you making?
Let's see. Last year we did about 45 million in revenue, with about 7 million in profit.
Okay.
But we're just getting started.
Okay. So 45 million revenue. So out of which, how many? What is the proportion between games, stickers, and advertising?
I would rather not go into the details, but games is definitely a huge and very strong revenue driver for us. I think in 2 years, 3 years' time, looking back, this is just the beginning. Becoming a mobile platform, a lot of activities that you would do offline or through your PC is now moving to mobile. And so revenues in other portions, I think, are going to grow, see very rapid growth, especially in advertisement and e-commerce. And speaking of e-commerce, we have something called gifting, sending a offline gift through your message. And we started this service about 2 years ago. At that time, we were selling, $3 Starbucks coffee. You can purchase through KakaoTalk a Starbucks coffee and then shoot a barcode to your KakaoTalk friend through a message, and you take that barcode to Starbucks and you can redeem that for a cup of coffee. Last year, we were selling on Valentine's Day $200 Swarovski necklaces. And this year, we were selling $1,000 diamond necklace and jewelry set. And so, you see that growth taking commerce is just one example, but there's plenty and more to come, I believe.
Okay, so just want to focus more a little bit about Southeast Asia. So recently we've been seeing a lot of Kakao people running around between Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia. So whenever we go to these countries, we bump into them. Yeah, and also Leo in Singapore. So how is Kakao doing in Southeast Asia? I know that when we write about Line, when Line has announced that they have 1 million users in Vietnam, and quickly someone from Kakao tells them, we have 1 million users too. Yeah. So if you could tell us, what is the breakdown? In Southeast Asia, which is in Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand, so what number of users?
I don't have the exact figures for you, but like I said, we've started mass marketing in Indonesia and Vietnam using Big Bang, one of the Korean groups, famous groups, and local celebrities in our commercials. I can say that it's only been 2 or 3 days, but especially in Indonesia, we're seeing an explosive rise in downloads. We're up to about almost 100,000 downloads each day. So we're definitely trying to grow in this region. But we're a small company. So we have to allocate our resources very carefully. So we're going from country to country, looking at countries where we see an expansion in the smartphone devices. Unlike other chatting applications, we only support smartphones, and so we're looking at markets like Indonesia and Vietnam, where there's a strong growth in the number of smartphone devices that are being sold.
How long have you advertised or promote KakaoTalk in Indonesia?
3 days now.
3 days.
We started on Monday, I think. Yeah.
So 3 times 100,000, that would be 300,000 users. Can I say that?
In 3 days, yes,
Okay,
roughly.
So right now, can I say that Kakao has about 300,000 users in Indonesia?
We've been in service for 3 years, so there might be slightly more than 300,000.
How many are there?
I don't have the exact figures, but it's a sizable amount because we also support BlackBerry OS, and so a lot of people in Indonesia are using BlackBerry KakaoTalk.
Okay, so I guess there are millions of users in Southeast Asia using Kakao. So based on your statistics and data, comparing how Korean users are using KakaoTalk compared with Southeast Asian users using Kakao, are there any like major differences? How are Southeast Asian users using KakaoTalk differently?
I don't think that there's a huge difference. Messaging is like a really basic service, especially text messaging. But the fun thing about applications like us is that it adds more than chatting with your personal friends. It has stickers, emoticons. There's ways to introduce different digital content into that interaction with your friends. One service for us being Plus Friends. In Korea, Plus Friends is also an advertisement platform. But since we don't have a large user base in Southeast Asia, we are servicing Hallyu stars, the Korean singers and actors and things of this nature. You can befriend them and receive photos or movies or video clips from them. Those kind of value-added services we would like to focus on more.
So just thought you mentioned that 45 million revenue. So are they mainly from Korea?
Mainly from Korea. We just started our advertising model in Japan and also games in Japan. So hopefully our overseas revenue will rise in the long run. But I would say most of our revenue is Korea only.
Okay. So when you gain users in Southeast Asia, would you be doing a game platform for Southeast Asian users as well?
Oh, definitely yes. We have just started in Japan, and we would like to replicate that model here in Southeast Asia. It's just that we have to have a significant significant amount of users in order for a platform model to work, and so our focus right now is to enlarge our user base, and once we get to that critical point, we'll be launching various other different services here in Southeast Asia.
How much is that critical point?
Oh boy, we don't have an exact figure, but once we think that we have at least a significant portion of this messaging service, then we would think about launching, but we're not there yet.
Okay, so one of the questions, actually you received an email from a gaming company. So he was asking that if he's based in Indonesia and they're building mobile games, can they work with Kakao? Is it any possibility to work with Kakao?
Oh, definitely yes. Please do contact us. We have Leo Kim, who's based in Singapore. You can contact him, or you can contact me through Willis, and be happy to talk to him.
I'll just spam your email.
It's vino@kakao.com. Vino as in wine, Italian for wine. I like wine.
Okay, so what is the future of Kakao? And how will you compete with Line and WeChat?
Good question. We really don't know, to be honest. We would like to position ourselves as a mobile social platform, and so we would like to launch and try out different things using that social graph on our traffic. Anything that would work in the mobile area with that social graph and traffic, we are willing to experiment. And so I think we're just at the beginning. There's a lot of possibilities out there, and so we are not just doing that by ourselves, but we would like to do it with our business partners. We're very keen on working and forming a healthy ecosystem. We can't do it by ourselves, and there's no way of doing that. And there's lessons to be learned from Facebook, where their expansive growth came from creating this ecosystem. And so we're trying to move into that direction. But on a more concrete service level, we're launching new services each and every month. But what will be successful, we don't know. We just keep trying.
Okay. Last question. What is the exit plan?
Too early to think about exit. We would like to IPO someday, but we don't have any plans in the near future. So we don't think it's time to talk about exiting. It's time to think about growth and expanding.
Is it possible for Tencent to buy the entire company?
You can never say never, so I'm not going to say no out flat, but we would like to grow our company further before exiting or selling to one particular party.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks.
you.